You can't stay consistent. I know that because most people can't. You start a habit, you feel motivated for a few days, and then the moment you wake up tired, stressed, or overwhelmed, everything falls apart. And the worst part, you blame yourself, like there's something wrong with you, but there isn't. There's something wrong with the system you're using. And I learned that lesson face down in freezing mud during Bud S training when my body was shaking so uncontrollably I could barely breathe. That was the moment I discovered the truth you were never taught. Your mind isn't designed to help you build habits. It's designed to help you escape discomfort. Until you understand that, you will lose this fight every single time. But the solution I'm going to give you is something only a SEAL learns under that kind of pressure, and it will change everything for you. Before we go any further, I need you to do something right now. Put your phone face down. Turn notifications off. Don't try, do it. If you can't remove distractions for a few minutes, nothing I say is going to work for you. This isn't entertainment. This is your first test. In Bud S, most guys failed before 5 a.m. because they couldn't handle the smallest command. If a simple instruction is too much, then click off this video and try again another time. But if you're still here, if you actually want unbreakable habits and not just the idea of them, then good. You've passed the first filter. I'm ex-Navy SEAL John, and I spent over a decade in elite special operations. When I talk about discipline, I'm not talking about motivation or hype. I'm talking about the difference between being effective and being a liability. In the teams, we had a principle called mission readiness. Out here, you call it trying to get your life together, but the mechanics are the same. And what I'm giving you today isn't mindset fluff or believe in yourself nonsense. This is the exact neurological and behavioral protocol we use to stay locked in during cold, stress, chaos, and fear, the same conditions under which your habits collapse. And here's my promise. If you apply what I give you for 7 days, just 7, you will experience discipline in a way you never have before. Here's the roadmap so you know exactly what's coming. The strategy I'm about to give you is broken into 3 parts, the same way we break down a mission brief. First, I'll show you why your excuses are not personality flaws. They are predictable survival responses that your brain fires automatically. Second, I'll give you the SEAL protocol for overriding that internal weakness before it takes control. And third, you'll learn the habit lock-in, the same technique we used before missions to make sure the job got done no matter how cold, tired, or mentally drained we were. Before I take you into that mud with me, I want you to drop something in the comments. Write, "No more excuses, that's not for me. It's for you." It's your declaration that you're done living at the mercy of your feelings. Because from this point forward, we do things the way I learned to do them under the worst conditions imaginable. No comfort, no negotiation, just discipline executed with clarity. If you're ready, then stay with me. Because now we dig into where your excuses are really born. When I tell people their mind is lying to them, they think I'm being dramatic. They think I'm talking in metaphors. I'm not. Your mind lies to you every single day, and it lies with one goal: to make you stop. Stop trying. Stop pushing. Stop doing the things that make you uncomfortable. Most people don't even question it. They feel tired. They stop. They feel stressed. They stop. They feel resistance. They stop. What they don't realize is that this instinct is ancient. It was designed to keep you alive, not to help you grow. And the first time I truly understood this wasn't in a classroom or reading a book or listening to some motivational speech. It was during a long-distance run in Bud S, when my legs felt like concrete blocks and my lungs were burning so badly I thought they were going to collapse. We had already been running for miles. Sand was packed into my boots, rubbing my feet raw. The Pacific wind hit my face like ice, and every step sent a shock of pain up my shins. My mind was screaming, "Stop, slow down. If you keep going, you'll get hurt. You can't do this." That internal voice didn't whisper. It yelled. It sounded rational, protective, even caring. And that's the trap. Your mind will use the most convincing language possible to get you to quit. It will disguise weakness as wisdom. But here's what changed everything for me. The guy running next to me, someone smaller, less athletic, already limping, kept going. He didn't slow down. He didn't quit. He pushed past the same wall that was convincing me I had nothing left, and watching him expose the truth. My body wasn't done. My mind just wanted out. That moment was the first time the 40% rule clicked for me. It's not a motivational slogan. It's a survival principle. When your brain tells you you're at the brink, when it insists you can't take another step, you're usually at around 40% of your actual capacity. 40. That means 60%. More than half of what you could do is still untouched, locked behind mental resistance. In the teams, we didn't have the luxury of believing that first signal. If we listened to it on a mission, someone wouldn't make it home. So we conditioned ourselves to recognize it for what it was: a lie. A safety alarm that triggers way too early. And here's the part most people never understand. The more you obey that alarm, the louder and more demanding it becomes. This isn't magic, it's neuroscience. Your brain is wired to avoid pain, uncertainty, and effort because those things once meant danger. But in your life right now, the things you call hard aren't threatening your survival. They're threatening your comfort. And because your brain can't tell the difference, it reacts the same way. That's why every time you start a new habit, whether it's waking up early, eating clean, training, writing, studying, your mind pushes back and tries to shut it down. Not because you're weak, because you haven't taught your brain the truth yet. Discomfort does not equal danger. In Buddhist, instructors didn't break us physically. They broke the illusion our minds created. They forced us, cold, shivering, exhausted, to operate long after our internal dialogue insisted we were done. You can't fake that experience. You learn in a very real, very painful way that the limit you feel is not the limit you have. I've seen guys black out on the grinder before they actually reach their true physical threshold. I've seen men shaking uncontrollably in the surf zone, looking like they had nothing left, only to sprint full speed 5 minutes later because they were ordered to. The body follows the mind, and the mind will quit long before the body needs to. If you want unbreakable discipline, you have to train yourself the way we did. You must learn to pause when that first quitting signal shows up. You have to recognize it as the beginning, not the end. When your mind yells, stop, you reframe it as, this is where I start. When your muscles ache, when your motivation drains, when your thoughts turn negative, that is the moment where transformation begins. That is the moment where everyone else quits. And that's exactly why you can't. Because the truth is simple, you are not even close to your limit. Not physically, not mentally, not emotionally. The person you think you are is still operating inside that first 40%. And the only way out, the only way you'll ever tap into the rest is by refusing to believe the lie your mind repeats every day. Your brain wants to protect you, but if you let it, it will also imprison you. And this chapter right here is your first chance to break out. There was a moment years after I left the teams when a friend asked me how I managed to stay so consistent with my routines. He thought it was discipline. He thought it was motivation. He thought maybe I had some genetic advantage or military wiring that made everything easier for me. I laughed because none of that is true. The real reason is simple. I removed negotiation from my life. And that's what you've been missing. You try to build habits while still leaving the door open for excuses, delays, alternatives, and moods. That's like trying to complete a mission while leaving the option to maybe not go on the table. No SEAL would ever operate like that, and neither can you, not if you want habits that actually stick. The first piece of this protocol is what I call the non-negotiable window. In the teams, every mission had a time window, tight, specific, uncompromising. If we were told to move at 0200, we moved at 0200, not 0205, not when we felt ready. You didn't sit there debating whether you were tired or stressed or not in the mood. The window opened and we acted. That same principle is how I built every habit I have today. If you say you're going to train in the morning, then you train in the morning. The window is locked. You don't negotiate with your feelings. You don't ask yourself questions. You execute. People fail because they allow their feelings to vote. The moment you remove that vote, you eliminate 90% of your weakness. Your habits become inevitable instead of optional. The second part of the protocol is the trigger action lock-in sequence. This is how we operated under stress in real missions. Every movement we made started with a trigger, something that activated the behavior instantly. For example, the moment a green chem light dropped, we moved. The moment a hand signal flashed, we shifted formation. The moment an alarm chirped in our radios, we executed the next step without hesitation. There was no gap between trigger and action, no delay where doubt could creep in, and this is exactly what you need in your daily habits. Let's say your habit is writing. Your trigger might be sitting at your desk and opening your laptop. The moment you do that, you start typing. No pause, no browsing, no warm-up. You attach the action directly to the trigger, and the lock-in is what follows, something that seals the behavior in place. In Buddhist, our lock-in was the confirmation call, the acknowledgement that the task was completed and we were moving forward. In civilian life, it can be something simple. Logging the habit in a notebook, sending a message to a friend saying it's done, or even taking a photo of your progress. It sounds small, but the lock-in tells your brain, this is who I am now. Your identity updates through repetition, not intention. The third piece is what most people never consider because accountability has been twisted into a group activity. In the teams, accountability didn't start with the unit. It started with the individual. I call it the accountability of one. When you're responsible for someone's life, you don't rely on group motivation or group pressure. You hold yourself to the standard because the consequences are real. Out here, your consequences are different, but just as serious. If you fail to build discipline, you lose opportunities, health, confidence, and time, things you can't get back. The accountability of one means this: you never wait for someone to check on you. You check on yourself. You become the teammate you wish you had. And once you become that person, your habits stop depending on anyone else's support. I've applied these 3 steps in every part of my civilian life. When I wake up, the non-negotiable window is already set. My trigger is making the bed. Action, straight into movement or hydration. Lock in. I write it down. Nobody needs to ask me if I did it. That's the accountability of one. When I'm working on a project, the moment I open my notebook, that's the trigger. Action begins immediately. Lock-in comes when I send the deliverable off. No hesitation, no perfectionism, no delay. And when I train, the window is fixed. Whether I feel like it or not has zero influence. Feelings don't decide behavior, protocol does. If you want unbreakable habits, this is your path. One path, no negotiation. When you build your routines like missions instead of wishes, everything changes, not gradually, immediately. And once you eliminate negotiation from your life, you'll realize your potential was never the problem. Your system was. The moment you fix the system, the discipline follows automatically. Most people don't lose their habits because they're lazy. They lose them because life gets chaotic. One bad day, one stressful week, one unexpected problem, and suddenly the routine collapses. What they don't realize is that this collapse isn't caused by the chaos itself. It's caused by the way their brain reacts to chaos. Stress narrows your focus, hijacks your decision-making, and shifts you into survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, the first things to go are the habits that matter most. That's why your routine evaporates the moment things get overwhelming. But in the teams, we didn't have the luxury of letting stress change our behavior. We had to stay consistent when everything around us was breaking down. The habit wasn't optional. The habit was survival. And what I learned out there is exactly what you need to apply in your everyday life. I remember a mission overseas where everything went wrong at once. We were moving through an alleyway just before sunrise, the air thick with dust and diesel fumes, the kind of heat that sticks to your skin even before the sun comes up. We were supposed to hit a building on the far side of the block. Simple plan, clean entry, but halfway there, we heard a sound we weren't expecting. Metal scraping against concrete, followed by shouting. In seconds, the entire environment shifted. The plan was compromised. Chaos hit like a shockwave. My heart rate spiked, my vision tunneled, and 1,000 thoughts tried to fire all at once. And this is the moment most people don't prepare for. When your mind is screaming at you, when your nerves are firing, and your body is telling you to freeze or flee. But in the teams, we had drilled one thing more than anything else: consistency under pressure. Stress cannot break you if you've trained to remain yourself inside it. My breath slowed, my hands didn't shake, my body went straight into the sequence we'd rehearsed 100 times. Communication, positioning, movement, adapt, execute. We didn't need to feel calm. We didn't need perfect conditions. We just needed to trust the habit. And that's the part nobody understands. The habit is what carries you when your emotions can't. This is what we call stress inoculation. Just like a vaccine exposes your immune system to a weakened version of a virus so it knows how to respond later, stress inoculation is training your mind to stay functional inside chaos instead of folding under it. And you don't need to be in a war zone to apply it. You're already experiencing chaos, work deadlines, kids, bills, conflict, exhaustion, uncertainty. Every one of those moments triggers the same physiological response we experienced under fire: elevated cortisol, narrowed attention, loss of willpower, panic thoughts. The difference is that we practiced inside that environment until it became familiar. You treat stress like a threat. SEALs treat stress like a training partner. In everyday life, this means exposing yourself to small doses of controlled discomfort every single day, not to suffer, but to adapt. Wake up earlier than you want, take cold showers, set deadlines on yourself that compress your comfort, exercise when you don't feel ready, speak up in conversations that make you anxious. All these things build the same psychological armor we used on missions. You are teaching your brain, I can act in chaos, I can move through stress, I don't stop when I'm uncomfortable. When life eventually throws something heavy at you, and it will, you won't break the habit because you've already trained your mind to operate under pressure. The second part of stress inoculation is eliminating the idea that conditions need to be perfect. If we waited for perfect conditions in the teams, we would still be sitting on the beach. You need to internalize the same truth. Your habits must survive imperfection. The day you're tired, stressed, pissed off, busy, or overwhelmed, that is the day that matters. Anyone can execute a habit when life is smooth. Consistency is forged on the days when your brain tells you it's not possible. The final piece is anchoring your habits to identity, not emotion. During that mission, I didn't act because I felt strong. I acted because I was a SEAL and SEALS execute regardless of conditions. Your new identity needs to be the same. You are the type of person who stays consistent even when everything is falling apart. Once that becomes who you are, the chaos loses its power. Life will never get easier. Stress will never disappear. Chaos will always find you. But if you train the way we trained, if you inoculate yourself against the emotional shock, if you remove the illusion of perfect conditions, if you anchor your habits to identity, then you gain something most people never experience, the ability to move forward no matter what's happening around you. Consistency isn't built in calm, it's built in the storm. And once you learn to operate inside that storm, your habits become unbreakable. There's a moment in every person's life where something shifts, not because they read the perfect book, not because they found the perfect routine, not because they finally felt ready. It happens in an instant, quiet, internal, unmistakable. It's the moment they stop negotiating with themselves. And if you followed me through everything up to this point, then you're standing right on the edge of that moment right now. I've spent years watching people try to change their lives while dragging their excuses behind them like dead weight. They talk about discipline, but they still allow themselves to debate. They talk about goals, but they still let comfort make the final call. They talk about transformation, but they never actually cut the cord that keeps them tied to who they used to be. And that's why nothing sticks. That's why their habits fall apart. That's why they stay trapped inside the same loop year after year. In the teams, there was no negotiation. You didn't wake up at 0400 and wonder if you felt like getting in the ocean. You didn't get an order and ask yourself whether it aligned with your mood. You didn't sit there weighing pros and cons while people depended on you. You moved, you acted, you executed. Not because you wanted to, not because it was comfortable, but because the standard was the standard. Most civilians think we were born that way. They think SEALs are built from some special material. But the truth is far simpler. We became that way the moment we decided there was no other option. And that same moment is available to you. I've seen ordinary men transform into someone unrecognizable once they made that internal shift. I'm talking about guys who showed up to Buddy S with average strength, average speed, average confidence. But something inside them snapped into place when they realized they had to remove the option to quit. Once that door closed, their entire identity changed. They weren't trying to be disciplined anymore. They were disciplined. They weren't trying to push past limits. They lived past their limits by default. And the reason they succeeded wasn't because they were the biggest or fastest. It was because they removed the trapdoor most people keep under their feet. They stopped giving themselves the option to fall through. After I left the teams, I watched the same mindset change people in the civilian world too. I trained a business owner who spent years trying to wake up early, but always found a reason to sleep in. Stress, exhaustion, late nights, whatever excuse popped up that day. When he finally committed to the non-negotiable window, everything changed. It took him 2 days, not 2 months, 2 days, because once he removed negotiation, his brain stopped searching for alternatives. Another guy wanted to lose weight, but spent his entire life restarting diets every Monday. The moment he decided he would take action every day, no matter what, no resets, no loopholes, no, I'll get back on track tomorrow, he lost 30 pounds in 90 days. His body didn't change first. His identity did. That's what I'm asking from you right now. Not more effort, not more motivation, not more hype. I'm asking for the moment where you decide, truly decide that you're done living at the mercy of how you feel, that you're done negotiating with weakness, that you're done letting the smallest discomfort push you off course. Because here's the truth that will either liberate you or expose you. Your life changes the second you stop giving yourself options. You might think that's too harsh. You might think it's too extreme. But look at the results you've gotten from your old approach. Look at the habits you've started and abandoned. Look at the dreams you buried under excuses. How much longer are you willing to let that version of yourself run the show? Because I'm telling you right now, you are one decision away from becoming the person you keep imagining in your head. Not in a year, not someday, right now, in this moment. When I say no more excuses, I'm not yelling at you. I'm inviting you. I'm giving you the same doorway that changed my life, my teammates' lives, and the lives of the people I've trained since leaving the military. And once you walk through it, once you remove negotiation from your habits, everything becomes clear. You don't have to think, you don't have to debate, you don't have to wait for motivation. You just move, you act, you execute. So I'll leave you with this. You can keep living inside the 40% your mind wants to trap you in, or you can make the decision right now that you're done living small. You're done letting feelings control your future. You're done breaking your own promises. Take the moment, claim it. Because the second you do, you become unstoppable. No more excuses. It starts now.